Hello, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to My Notes and My Life. Today's session we are going to see about barcodes and QR codes. We'll start with QR codes. See here you are seeing a QR code picture and we will explain what each boxes represents. We have here, if you see closely, you can see black and white small squares here. Okay, and here it is QR code. QR code means quick response codes. QR codes are made up of a lot of black and white squares, and each black and white squares we call it as a module or a pixel. Okay, so QR codes are made up of lots of black and white squares, and each black and white squares we call it as a module or a pixel. If you examine very closely, you can see three boxes at the three corners, and these square boxes tells the QR code reader where the edges of the QR codes are. Let me show you that clearly. So see here, you can see you have one box here, you have one box here, and you have one box here. So at the three corners you have three boxes which represents the edges of the QR code. QR codes are two-dimensional. Two-dimensional means they can store the data both horizontally and vertically by a QR code reader. They can store data both horizontally and vertically by a QR code reader. QR codes can normally store up to 7,000 datas or 4,296 pixels. QR code's ability to store more data makes it useful for creating links, and for modern days advertising they are using QR code because of their ability to store more information based on the data. QR code can be coded so that they can link to many things like website, a video, a social networking profile, a telephone number, a message, etc. Since QR code is encased with more data, it is having a error correction method built into them, which is called as a Reed-Solomon method. So QR codes comes with an error correction method built into them known as Reed-Solomon method. If you see this one, you can see that at the middle part of that QR code you have some kind of writings that we can say that this is the newest format of QR code, which we call it as a frame code. So we can say that this is the new development of the QR code. We call it as a frame QR code. Frame QR code comes with a canvas area where it is possible to include graphics or images inside the code itself. And normally if we can generate a QR code, frame QR codes software is not free. You have to pay for frame QR codes. Frame QR codes are used because of the increased ability to add advertising logos. So for most of the companies or the products, the logos are very important, right? So now the frame QR codes became so popular because they can add a logo. They have a canvas area at the middle of their portion. I'll show that QR code once again so that you will be clear with the picture. See, you can easily find the difference. This is also a QR code and this is also a QR code. In this QR code middle portion, you don't have that canvas area, where here you have that canvas area. So this is your frame QR code and this is your normal QR code. QR code can normally store 7,000 digits. Now we will see the advantages and disadvantages of QR codes. So what are the advantages of QR codes? QR codes are very efficient method of storing informations and linking to it. And it can store a variety of informations including the links to website, images, messages, telephone numbers, etc. Even if some areas of the QR code is missing or covered up, the code can often still be read. Let's see the disadvantages of QR codes. Disadvantages of QR codes: it has more than one QR format available, so people may get confused which one not to use. And QR codes are not common as barcodes. Some people don't know what they are for. So if the people are not aware of that QR code, it is waste of advertising through QR codes. You will not be able to reach as what you thought. And then QR codes can be used to transmit malicious codes, and we call it as tagging, ATTAGGING, tagging. QR codes can be used to transmit malicious codes. That means you are not aware that what content you have in QR code unless otherwise you scan it. So if it is having some kind of malicious codes and without knowing you scanned it, it can easily access your system control. If QR codes are used for advertising or distributing information, people need to have the ability to read them, such as smartphones. If people are not having smartphones, there is no use of QR codes. So these are the disadvantages. But more than disadvantages, we have advantages that based on upon the technology and upon the new trends, we can have different informations in a QR code, like a video, we can have a message, you can add your telephone numbers, you can use a social networking profile, you can add a website. So this will be an added advantage for the advertising companies. Thank you, and we'll see you with a next topic in next session.